Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our final meeting of 2023. We'll begin today with the welcome acknowledgement statement. The Ganaraska Conservation Authority is respectfully acknowledges that lands on which we gather is situated within the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas and Chippewas of the Anishinaabeg, known today as the Williams Treaties First Nations. Our work on these lands acknowledges their resilience and their long-standing contributions to the area. We are thankful for the opportunity to live, learn, and share with mutual respect and appreciation. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in today's meeting? And we'll go on to our minutes from the last meeting, the October 19th meeting. They've been attached. Can I have a mover to approve those, please? Adam, seconded Joan. Any comments or questions? All in favor? That's carried. Is there any adoption? The adoption for today's agenda, please. Vicky, seconder, Adam. All in favor? Carried. Presentation. And our presenter
is not here, Mr. Chair. The presentation was attached.
Okay, are we expecting him, do you think? Or do you want us to hold on
I
this?
think we were expecting him. I believe he was going to attend in person. I just emailed him the Zoom link in case. Okay. Perhaps if we could, if he comes, then we could go back.
If the board's okay, we'll come back to 6.6A if that's all right, and hopefully our presenter comes on board. We'll move on to business arising from the previous minutes, and that will be the municipal levy. And Linda, you want to take over? And
yes, I will. I will just have to. No, I will. I will do it as we go. So, Mr. Chair, the municipal levy letters were circulated to the municipalities in October, and as you're aware, for regulation, all municipalities require 30 days minimum to review the levy. At this meeting, we do have the levy vote, and the levy vote is calculated on the current value assessment apportionment that is provided to conservation authorities through the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry from the Ministry of Housing. So, and that's based on their calculations. So this does have to be a recorded vote, and each percentage, everybody was given a percentage in that, and I will read it out as I read the recorded vote. The provincial appointee that is not voting on this is for the municipalities, and the percentage of the vote does not change. What changes is the percentage at the bottom, which I have a formula, so I'll just pull people out. We require 51% of those present to carry the vote. And even though Clarington has 50%, it's still required at 51 because we had to readjust. The vote will be, we still have quorum, so we have enough to do the vote. So as we're voting, I'll take people out of my formula, put it as a yay or nay, and then I will tell you the percentage needed to carry the 51%, and then I'll tell you the percentage that we have. I'll tell you the percentage we have present, and then I'll tell you the percentage we need for 51%. So I believe I have this in the right order. Okay, according to, so Randy is not here. So Mark Lovesham.
I'm a yay.
Yeah. Sorry, that's it. 10.8589%. Yay. Okay. This is going to be just a little bit slower.
Yeah, take your time.
Okay. Vicky Mink, 8.3825 municipality Port Hope. Yay. Miriam Mouton, municipality or town of Coburg, a 10.5491. Yay. Lance Natchoff, Township of Cavan Monaghan,
Yay.
Okay, 0.2062. Thank you, Lance.
Yeah, my almost 1%.
Yeah. Tracy Richardson, City of Portland Lakes,
In favor.
0.899.
In favor.
Thank you. Adam Pearson, Municipality of Port Hope, 8.3825.
Yay.
Joan Stouffer, Township of Alnwick, Haldeman, 0.9814.
Yay.
And I'm just looking to make sure that there is nobody else on the, that's needed to come in. So the total vote that we have present in percentage is 39.4505, and the vote needed to carry at 51% is 20.1198. And we had in favor the 100% of the vote present. So that motion has been carried. So that the GRCA Board of Directors approved the staff report that includes the 2023 levy in the amount of $1,238,968.
Okay, thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And we'll move on to applications under the Ontario Regulation 116-06. So you can approved by the executive. Can I have a motion to receive those for information, please? Vicky, seconder. Miriam, any questions or comments from those? Anyone? Miriam?
Just a question, clarification, the Ravensdale, end of Ravensdale, that culvert, that was the, it had started up a bit of controversy, so they now have a permit to enter there. That's
Through you, Mr. Chair, the whether they have a permit or not would be up to the municipality,
okay.
but insofar as the permit or meets the policies of the Ganaraska, it met all the necessary criteria for permit issuance.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further, Miriam? No.
Nope, I just thought I'd ask because I know the citizens were interested.
Sure, why not? That's what we're here for. Anyone else? No. Can I have all in favor then, please? And that's carried. And we'll go down to our Ganaraska Forest Users Committee meeting. And those minutes were November the 2nd, 2023. And I have a motion to get it on the floor that we receive those for information. Mover, please, Joan, seconder Adam. Any comments or questions from those? Anyone? Again, all in favor? That's carried. And other business, we have programs and services inventory staff report attached. Did you want to speak on this at all, then, or anybody on staff or not?
Yeah, I can give a quick update on that, Mr. Chair. That is simply an update. You did approve the updated one in September of 2023, and because we did the preliminary budget for 2024, I thought prior to sending it out to the municipalities, the original one was that we have a 5-year estimated value in all of those programs and services, but given that COVID would have been part of that 5 years, Ganaraska, as other CAs, chose to focus in only on current years. Well, we decided to do for this updated one, it's really an estimate of 2023 and 2024. So we're going to send that out, that one out to the municipalities. So that was the update that we just tweaked the numbers a little bit so that it showed that average.
Any questions for Linda? Okay, all in favor? I think we have movers, is that right? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You receive that? Oh, I'll go back with it. Well, can we get a mover on this one then to receive information?
I did. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
I thought it was done.
Oh, Joan and Adam. Okay, thank you.
All in favor? Let's carry it. I have to go back one. I'm sorry. I've got to go back to 11. And it's dealing with the Ganaraska Forest Volunteer Update.
Right, that's what, okay, thank you. And that's Pam. Yeah.
Yep.
I think we're still trying to sort it out.
Sorry.
Yeah, but he hasn't.
I know, that's what we're just trying to troubleshoot behind the scene. Trying to get.
And he's accepted the board, that keeps coming up that he's accepted, so I keep looking up here to see if he's trying to log in.
Was there a way to read the invite that was just?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're nearly the whole meeting.
Well, you're resetting then?
Yes, I will resend it. The board just, it's me, sorry.
Okay,
And Mr. Chair, also just wanted to update, it sounds like Mark Gardner is going to try and join through Zoom.
oh. Okay, well,
But
he's got
hoping
a
that
few-
he'll be able to as well, because honestly, we can't see what, say, like Willie is trying to do.
I'm just gonna resend it.
That's okay, you're gonna be next up anyway.
Yeah.
We're getting through it, it's,
Let me just gather.
we're just jumping a little, but we're getting through it.
Okay. I'm just trying to send it.
Would you let me to begin with?
I think we'll try and get
Okay.
Billy on, just give us 1 minute, the board will get you to wait.
Tell me when I'm done.
Sounds like we're ahead of the game.
Yeah, we're not too bad, it's only 4:15, we could be done by, should be done by now almost.
Thank you, Bruce. I got your email change. Okay, I've sent the invitation to Burley, so we'll see if
We'll give him a second to.
he's accepted the board, but he hasn't, he just has to log in. And I was walking him through the process, but he couldn't find it, like, I sent the link. There he is.
He's on? You almost see him. Hello, Will.
In progress.
You're there.
Okay,
I'm here.
I'm gonna take a meeting here because he wasn't here for the vote.
We have to apply, we're almost done, Willie.
Well, can I, meeting adjourned?
Well, you can do that in about, give us 5 minutes at least. We are going to do we're starting with number 11, Willie. We've done 12 already, so we're on 11. And then we're going
Okay,
to the forest, the Forest Recreational Users Committee Chair is supposed to be joining. Well, he
He
has
is
joined us
joined
now,
in, yeah.
so he'll be speaking a little bit later.
okay.
So I'll let Pam, you're doing 11A. I'll let you speak on this one, then we'll get a motion to either receive the report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair, and welcome to those that have now joined. And thank you for the opportunity to give a summary of this fairly lengthy staff report about the results from the 2023 Ganaraska Forest Trail Maintenance Volunteer Program. All of the detail is here in the staff report, so feel free at your leisure to review. But in summary, in response to the impact of the storm, May 2022 storm, the authority received numerous offers of support after the storm, which were much appreciated. Unfortunately, at that early days, though, the ability to facilitate volunteer efforts in the forest was just not doable for many reasons. But once the forest was partly opened in the fall, staff had the ability over that winter of 22-23 to develop a volunteer program that could allow volunteers to come in and do very technical skilled jobs that required a different level of effort and things like for protective equipment to be done. So as a result, it was probably late winter, early spring, where the first call for volunteers came out. And on April 1st, we had our first training session representing that person volunteer. And then in the summer, a second call came out to represent kind of the second phase of effort. So altogether between those two calls, a total of 70 individuals applied to the program. That April 1st training was done in person at the Forest Center, and 32 individuals attended and successfully completed their training on that day. And then for the second phase, the authority piloted an online training process where people could just go through a series of PDFs of PowerPoints at home and get their training. And it was deemed complete when a quiz was filled out and passed. So altogether, of the 70 people who applied, 42 of those individuals completed the necessary training. Then the last step was for volunteers to come to the Forest Center and pick up their volunteer pass. So that's something that they would carry with them or have also on the dash of their vehicle to say that, yes, they were authorized to be in the forest doing things that otherwise would not be allowed to occur. So of those 42 people who trained, 17 came and picked up their pass, meaning those 17 people were able to get into the forest with all their credentials to do volunteer work. So part of the process, we asked the volunteers to let us know when they're going to be in the forest, just so we knew we were in there, but also get a sense of effort that was undertaken. And so not everybody reported, which was unfortunate because we don't have a good sense. Well, we have a decent sense of effort, but I like hard data. So of the people who did say they were in, we were able to calculate that there was 37 hours of volunteer effort from those who said that here's what we do. And then we estimated the other people who hadn't reported but were allowed to be of those 17, that there was about 21 hours maybe that they provided. So a total of 8.5 working days according to authority, 7-day working per day hours. So in addition to what we call this self-directed volunteer program, the authority also hosted 2 volunteer events, one on a Saturday in September and one on a Friday in October. And the invitation went out to the 42 individuals who were trained because, again, what we were undertaking required the right PPE and the skill sets. And so on that first volunteer event, we had 3 volunteers come out and give staff a hand. And on the second event, there was 1 person. And for this, both days we worked on a 2.5-kilometer snowshoe trail in the Central Forest. It needed some maintenance work because it kind of did get lower on the list after the storm. And logistically, it was an easy trail to get volunteers on to do work. So all total, there was 8.5 hours of volunteer effort between those 2 events. So for staff to understand how the program is received out to the community, in August, as part of an update email, 4 questions were sent to the 70 who applied, asking things like, how did they feel the training was? If they weren't able to participate, what were some of those barriers? If they did participate, what did they think? And if they preferred self-directed opportunities or facilitated opportunities. So between those 2 emails, so an email went in August, 1 person responded, so then a reminder email went in November, and we have 11 people respond to the question. The questions or the answers are in here verbatim. The only thing I did was take out people's names, so there's some privacy to the comments. And I'll summarize them a little bit as part of the conclusions and next step. So in conclusion, obviously the GRCA and staff thank all the volunteers who did put in the time and effort to get trained, to attend the events, the training events, the volunteer events. They did greatly appreciate it, and every little bit of effort does help with trail recovery. This iteration of the volunteer program is planned to end at the end of the year. It was a pilot project, and it was very specific to continuing the recovery from the storm. And now it can be concluded at the end of this year. The program provided a framework for volunteers to be engaged in a safe environment while contributing to needs of the forest after the storm. However, in delivering the program, there was some challenges that were revealed because of it. So definitely having incomplete data collection related to volunteer participation effort is a challenge to truly understand the effectiveness of the program. And that's unfortunate that the volunteers didn't fully complete what they were requested to do. But bigger than that, a lot of people said, I would love to participate, but there's a barrier in place. So that would be the need for very specific protective equipment, certain hard hats, safety glasses, steel toe boots, all these things, which are costly and not easily accessible by everybody. And the physical demands of the work, it's difficult, not everybody wants to do that. Some other things that we are looking to address in future versions of the program. So one concern or comment that came up frequently is, if only I could get to the work site other than just on foot, because that's the only way they were only allowed to hike to where they need to do the work. If I could ride my ATV or my horse or something. So moving forward, we would actually require that volunteers who do a self-directed program are a member of the forest. So that way they can get to the site through whatever means they normally would for recreation. But then once they get to the site, then they have to follow our authority rules and all the reasons why we have that in place. When it's a facilitated GRCA volunteer event, we wouldn't require a day pass or membership because they're with us. And if they wanted to go play in the forest after, then they would have to get the right day pass or membership. So to address some of these challenges, the GRCA, through the conservation land strategy process that will be occurring over the next year, will look to broaden the volunteer program in general to see how we can better deliver volunteer opportunities in the forest that have a few barriers as possible to participation, so they are more inclusive, but also deliver something that the forest can benefit from. It might be in trail maintenance, it might be in data collection, citizen science, that's still to be determined, but we're still going to look at opportunities as part of this strategy process. And then as we do that, we will also consider certain volunteer events for 2024 that will be facilitated by staff and still contribute to what is required of the forest. So we'll still look at that for 2024 opportunity. The end.
Okay, thank you, Pam. Questions for Pam? Joan?
To you, Mr. Chair. One of the questions I had was, how much would the PPE, the hard hat, and what is the other, was it goggles you needed as well? How much would that cost?
So there is variable costs to things, but definitely the hard hat is a very specific order. I'm gonna hazard a guess that at least minimum probably $200 or more. I know my safety boots are, and they're not like, they're still safety boots, but not to do everything. They were $80.
I just wonder about the PPE, how much that would be.
Yeah, so the safety boots would be.
Is that included in the protection?
Yeah, so safety boots, safety goggles, hard hat, some sort of high vis. That could just be a really bright t-shirt. So gloves.
I noticed the tools and that, and I can go along with the tools, so.
Yeah.
You're probably looking at close to $400 a volunteer which is excessive.
Yeah, it's asking a lot, but it is definitely required on the site that we're working in. Staff require it, so we hold the volunteers to the same requirements as if we were sending our staff out to do the work for this particular line of work that we're requesting them to do.
Thank you.
Miriam, I saw your hand.
Yeah, thank you. One of the comments related to people. They took the training, they were interested, but then they found out that the area that they were going to work in was not something that appealed, I'm paraphrasing, to the user group that they were members of. So is that correct, my understanding of that comment? And would there be a possibility to identify in advance? And I guess this is also related to the PPE costs, is that, but if you're going to be part of this user group and you want to help maintain the trails that you would be on, perhaps the investment in PPE and everything else and time is, of value to you. Whereas if you're going to be somewhere else doing something else, maybe not. Is this a big issue?
So definitely that was a comment, and there's even, I think, some of it in writing in the report.
Yeah,
saying, you know,
yeah.
I would have helped, but the trails I wanted to work on weren't available to be done. Part of the process was that there was a digital, it's our public map, but slightly different data to show where volunteers can be. So it's a specific volunteer map. That was communicated in advance, especially when in relation to the central forest, to say, and so yes, people underwent training. And then I'd have to look back to see what email, but at some point in the communications, we said, here is a story about certain trails and why they're not part of the volunteer effort area. So they were aware. And definitely that is why some people did not participate any further. But we also said, but do you know, these are all the trails that you could do, and you can still do the uses you want on these trails if they're allowable. But maybe that's not the one that you personally like, type situation. Yeah, no, very valid comment that came through from the volunteer community.
I think you clarified though, that there was some information.
Okay. Anyone else with any questions? Anyone online with any questions? No? Oh, sorry, Adam.
That's not worried about it. Just a quick question about the self directed. What was the minimum amount of people to be doing the self-directed? Go by yourself, right?
Correct, yeah, so the rule about the self-directed is we didn't want people out by themselves, so it was a minimum of a buddy that you're out with.
Yeah.
If you wanted more, that was fine.
Which would have to be another volunteer that
Yeah.
is part of the program. So something for the future, is there like contact information to go around to each member so that they could actually contact?
Yeah, so that did happen. So that was brought up that I would have participated, but I didn't have a buddy to go with, because I wasn't in the list. So there's a little staff note, but yeah, so what happened there is, so when we had the application form, it indicated if you were going to work with somebody. So when we were setting up the training invites, I would say, please check with whoever you said you're going to work with to make sure they've applied, and if they haven't, they will still accept their application. So a few people came in going, oh, sorry, I forgot. And then at the meeting that was brought up, so we allowed time, so during the training, at the training, we said, on this break, if you are by yourself, go over by the fireplace and get to know one another. And if you want to exchange information. I think that happened a little bit, but what we also did is after the training, I emailed the group saying, if you feel comfortable sharing your email me, and I will get only your name and email, and then I will put it in this email. So everybody of the 42 at that time, or sorry, the 32 that were trained on that day, eventually did get, I think there was maybe a dozen that said, yes, I'm comfortable sharing my information. Now, from that point, it's just the comfort level of actually contacting somebody you really don't know. No, but it wasn't facilitated as much as we did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? I have one quick one, Pam, if you would. You mentioned that you're going to do updates and so forth on this process. Are you going to bring those back to the board before you proceed again? Would that be something that could happen, or at least for information for the board?
Yeah, so moving forward, any future volunteer programs, especially how they're worked into the strategy, will come forward through the strategy process. Based if we do events, staff can definitely come back after at whatever point to say, oh, we did these things and here's the results.
Okay.
So it will come back in different forms.
Great, I'd just like to see hopefully there's a change, because I mean, obviously you put a lot of work into trying to get volunteers, and you didn't get very many.
Yeah.
Not just volunteer, but not very many volunteer hours, so and it's, we don't want to see it cost more than it actually is worth, so.
Staff didn't do a cost evaluation, but I'll leave it to the board members.
I don't think
thoughts
you have
of
to
what
be
it
a genius to figure it out, right?
No.
Thank you, Pam.
Just to add that, the
Yes.
one nice thing about going through this process is when we created this specific program and how we do this, we also created a template in which we can run through ideas. Let's do this, and it helps us look at it from a health and safety task hazard analysis, tie the operation of Health and Safety Act if we need. So there is what we went through to create it has longevity to it that we can replicate that process and try it again with a different topic in mind.
All information is good information, so I'm glad you have it, and yeah, it's something to go forward with. Can I have a motion to receive Pam's report for information purposes? Bruce, seconder Adam, all in favor? That's carried. Okay, and next up, we're almost done, but we have to go back to. Yes, let's go back to 6A, which is the Ganaraska Forest Recreational Users Committee, and I believe our chair, I know our chair is here. Welcome, Mark. I believe you're going to present for us, and it's always a pleasure. So welcome aboard, and we'll hand you the floor.
Thank you. Apologies to everybody on my late arrival. I was on a video conference on a phone call, and then Ed reminded me where I was supposed to be. So I was able to finally make it here. And then Zoom told me, oh, by the way, Mark, you need to upgrade your software. So I feel like everything's conspiring against me, but I'll see what I can do. I gave you the package, or I provided to Ed and Pam the package. You've probably already gone through that. So I'll skip the front sections where it's basically a backgrounder if you're not completely familiar with what we've been doing as a recreational users committee. This is the 6th annual report of the RUC, and it's my 4th. I don't think I need to go through the specific topics that we discussed. They're based on information provided by yourselves. You know, in the past, Tracy's been involved in the meetings, and now Lance is coming out to them. So that's great. So they'll be able to pass on to you directly how we've been getting along. But I'll narrow my bullets down to these last few on our high level perspective from the performance in the year. We had quite a lot of changes on people. I won't go through who all came and went, but I think it was a good thing because our increase in attendance was up 50%. So that's really good. So we clearly didn't have any trouble meeting quorum, though we are still short a couple representatives, that being Cross Country Ski Ontario and Kawartha Lakes. At the beginning of the year, it was a good walkthrough because of all the new faces. We got an update on how the terms of reference and code of conduct and those sorts of things look. The changes really make life a lot easier for us who have been around for a little while, and to all the new attendees at the meetings. Public participation has never been high. We had one individual this year, which might be a record. There hasn't been that much in the past. So it's either it's something that the public isn't directly interested in, or they're satisfied with the product they're getting from the reports back from the user committee members. So could be good news. We're all still interested in getting back out of the forest. We had a good year this year for that. The trail access, I think, was an itchy topic about how things are being not homogenized, but normalized and limiting access to sites. And people have been used to oh, this is the way we've been doing it for years. But now it's getting more controlled, and that's I think a good thing. We've got a very good reason to be doing that. We had an in-person meeting opportunity for our last meeting of the year, but unfortunately only Pam and Ed were able to make it to that one. But I think everyone's going to try better to get in person. Those discussions are pretty good at the table. We've got now environmental concerns and volunteer program updates as regular items on the agenda, and that's a good report card for us to see how things are coming along. It's good to watch progress instead of just simply getting updates on particular topics. We're still looking for different ways to support the recovery of the forest. I know the wind around lately has been knocking down trees like crazy. You don't realize the ash trees are as beat up as they were until the wind comes. And I do like the idea of technologies. There's a lot of interaction with a lot of users through electronics. It makes it very simple, automated, and easy inventory stuff. But not everyone has access to that technology, so we have to keep that in mind. But essentially, all in all, it was a good year. We're glad to get back to the forest and get back to the uses that we're so used to. So quick and easy, not a whole lot of complications, and I think that's a good thing. Any questions? Any senses?
Any questions for Mark? Anyone? No, it's good. No, report's good, Mark. You're doing a great job. That's all we hear from your representatives. You guys just do a great job out there. They
Excellent.
Run well and continue the great effort.
Yeah, we try to have fun. That 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock weeding window is a little bit tough on some of us after a long day. And I try to keep as much levity in the group as possible. So I think it's going pretty well.
Great. No, great news. Great. Everything looks wonderful. So does any board members want anything to add or no? No, Lance, do you have anything you'd like to say? I know you're part of the in there. No. So okay, well, we need some motion.
Just want to say thanks, Mark. You're doing a great job. Looking forward to working with you more directly in the coming year as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, Miriam has a,
No, that's just
No.
a motion.
oh, okay, motion to receive Mark's report for information then, please. Miriam and Joan, all in favor? And that one's carried. Well, thank you very much, Mark. I'm glad you could make it.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
We moved around this agenda a little bit, but I think we're on to where Willie wanted to make the motion to adjourn, so. And just a reminder, we do have a source water protection meeting right afterwards, so Willie, you're gonna adjourn the meeting and we'll move on to our source water protection meeting